Hi, welcome to City Talk. I'm Michelle Bono, the assistant to the city manager for the city of Tallahassee. Recently, we celebrated one of the most exciting new additions in Tallahassee, Cascades Park. It is located right in the heart of downtown, and it has so many features that I know you're going to want to enjoy. It's got an interactive water fountain. It's got 2.4 miles of trails. It's got a kids play area, a great new amphitheater, and it has really been paid for with the money we spend in this community every day. It's the local option penny sales tax, and not only do people in Tallahassee pay it, but people from all around this region. On today's show, we're going to talk about the difference that penny has made in this community. Let's start by joining producer Gil Daspit to learn a little more.
When you look at Cascades Park, it's clearly impressive, especially realizing what was here before. But as exceptional as Cascades Park is, it's only the latest accomplishment in a group of city and county improvements undertaken by Blueprint 2000. Blueprint 2000 is an agency run jointly by the City of Tallahassee and Leon County that addresses major projects in our community with a 1-cent local option sales tax. Since the year 2000, Blueprint has planned for and carried out major projects, including widening 4 major segments of Capitol Circle, purchasing land at the headwaters of the St. Marks River to preserve river purity, renovating Franklin Boulevard, which adjoins Cascades Park, and its stormwater drainage system. Although Blueprint projects are substantial, Cascades Park is Blueprint's greatest success. While people travel on a road or sit by a pond, they experience a park. And Cascades Park has great stuff to experience. 2.4 miles of multi-use trails, the Smoky Hollow Commemoration, Discovery Play Area, Imagination Fountain, History Monuments, and a marvelous outdoor amphitheater. The amphitheater will feature professional entertainers, and local groups can rent the location as well. Now that Cascades Park is open, you can enjoy it every day. Like other local parks, Cascades Park is open from sunup to sundown. However, the lighted multi-use trails are available anytime, and there's enough local parking, including state parking garages, to accommodate a full house at the amphitheater and then some. While it looks like a park, Cascades is designed to serve as a stormwater pond. So when we get heavy rains, the park is built to flood, so nearby homes and streets don't. With Cascades Park, Tallahassee is going back to the future. The water features that attracted 2 officials in search of a place for Florida's capital back in 1823 have been recreated to blend into the capital and the thriving city that now surround them. Today, Cascades Park reclaims for everyone the historic spot that launched Tallahassee.
I am here to save lives.
What happened?
He came from out of nowhere.
When people need help, I respond.
During a crisis, I remain calm.
She's got a head injury.
I am a 911 dispatcher, and you can be one too.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
The Consolidated Dispatch Agency has openings for public safety communications operators. Dispatchers earn nearly $30,000 a year with benefits, receive on-the-job training, and have a flexible schedule. If you want to save lives, visit talgov.com and apply today.
There is really only one boy. One girl. One tree. One forest. One deep, dancing ocean. One mountain calling. One handful of sand through our fingers. One endless sky overhead. And one simple way to care for it all. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together under one name, Earthshare, one environment, one simple way to care for it.
Hi, welcome back to City Talk. On today's show, we're talking about Cascades Park, and we have two outstanding representatives who have a lot to do with that park joining us today. We have Mayor John Marks.
Good
and
morning.
Good morning, and we have the Chairman of the County Commission, Kristen Dozier. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Now, Kristen, you have kind of a dual focus here. Actually, the mayor has too. We have the intergovernmental agency made up of the city and the county that oversee Blueprint 2000. We're going to tell people what that is, but you're also the chairman of that, so we're particularly honored to have you on our show.
Thank you very much. I am very happy to represent all of my colleagues.
Okay. Well, let's start with what some people may not know. Let's talk about a sales tax. We have a penny local option sales tax. What is it? What does it do? How does it work?
Well, as you kind of indicated in the very beginning, it's a tax, obviously, on the sale of goods and services here in the city of Tallahassee. And every time somebody purchases something, an extra penny is placed on there. And it goes into this coffers, and we're going to do it for 20 years, I think. It was done for 20 years. So it collects quite a bit of money, but I think the important thing is that it's not only our local citizens who are contributing to this tax, those who visit us, those who, our hotels and restaurants, they are contributing to it as well because they use a lot of our services here in the city of Tallahassee.
I like to think of the sales tax as our investment in our own community. Because of the Blueprint process, which is unique, other communities look at this as a real star in how you structure sales tax investment. We know what we're going to spend the money on before the referendum goes to the voters. They get to decide, and that money is staying local. It is right here in our community. You can see the result of it, and it is making our community a better place, one penny at a time.
I think it's important, too, to note that the projects are defined when the voters vote.
Right.
The project's defined. It's not something that we can just spend any way we want to. Right. They're very defined and specific projects.
Well, and let's talk about what some of those are, because when people drive around this community, when they look around, there's a lot they see that sales tax penny has paid for. Give me a few examples of what those things are. Well,
one that we all know and we all like is Capitol Circle.
Sure.
And that is really one of the great projects that we've done. And it's really going to mean a lot, especially when that extension from the airport to I-10 is completed. That's going to mean a lot for economic development and ease getting in and out of the airport.
We did some high-profile projects with Blueprint 2000, certainly Capitol Circle, Mahan Drive, Cascades Park, but also a lot of projects that people don't see or recognize, stormwater projects that have alleviated flooding in a lot of areas of our community. So it's very comprehensive, and I think people can see throughout the years of Blueprint 2000 that the community has really moved to a new level, and it's because of some of these projects.
I think sometimes we forget, but I still remember a two-lane Capitol Circle over by Mahan.
And we called it the truck route.
It was the truck route. No, you're right. And the traffic would back up for literally like a mile just to get through that intersection. It's still busy today, but it is so much better than that two-lane Capitol Circle.
Well, I have to travel from my house to the airport quite a bit, and I go down I-10 and getting into the airport. It's going to be such a pleasure now when we get that segment
all
completed.
the way finished. Okay, now let's talk about one of the ones you mentioned, because that is the most exciting thing, Cascades Park. What is Cascades Park? Where is it located? Why is it important?
I want Kristen. She's the intergovernmental person.
All right, we'll let her take the lead on that one.
Well, I'll start. I think Cascades is a game changer for our whole community, but it represents, I think, what we've considered the Blueprint philosophy, taking care of a lot of different needs at once in a beautiful and incredible way that raises the quality of life in our community. So Cascades is right downtown, connecting from Lafayette Street to South Monroe. It was a brownfield. It was a contaminated area. All of that has been removed, and now it's an incredible stormwater facility, so to alleviate flooding, already is on Franklin Boulevard and some other places. But soon, I really think that's not going to matter very much. People are not going to see that. They're going to see this incredible park where they can go, have lunch, take walks, play with the kids, and enjoy some of the best amenities we have in our community.
Let us not forget, everybody believes that was the place where the two guys, one from Pensacola and one from St. Augustine, met, and that's the rarity where Tallahassee began. At least that's the story.
That is
and
the
we're
story.
Going to stick to it.
We've all heard
We're gonna
that
stick.
in school. The other thing they talked about was a cascade that was there at the
Yes.
time, and it was so beautiful that was one of the reasons they loved being at that spot. We've recreated that cascade now in the park. It's exquisite. But let me ask you
Yes.
all, what's your favorite part of this new park?
What do you think, Kristen?
It is hard to decide. I think first, for me, the park is about culture, entertainment, and our history. And that's really pretty amazing. We've covered a lot of different bases. I personally have worked very hard on the amphitheater over the last few years, both with the neighborhood and with Blueprint, and I am incredibly excited. We've never had a space where 3,000 people could come, enjoy music, Shakespeare in the Park, other types of things. It is looking beautiful. I think people are going to really enjoy it. But one of my most favorite aspects is something that was already there. It was the Korean War Memorial that was hidden behind lots of different trees out in front of DOT. And it now has a place of prominence. And it is really the way we should honor our Korean War veterans and all of our veterans. So there's old and new coming together. And I could go on, but what's your favorite part?
Well, historically, we got to recognize that that area once was the home to a number of our African American ancestors, if you will, Smoky Hollow. And it was the Department of Transportation building kind of wiped it out. But we're now trying to recreate that down at Smoky Hollow near in that area. So I think that's very important. That has historical significance to this community, and it certainly is very, very meaningful. The other thing
And even before you jump from that, one of the Adderley brothers, one of them was born in that neighborhood. We have famous
Carrie
Amos.
Meek, Senator Carrie Meek was born down there.
So, I mean, great things and great people came out of that neighborhood.
And
so
the way that they see it, it's going to be really, really fantastic.
Okay.
I think one of the really important things about the park to me is the collaboration. So with Smoky Hollow, we've collaborated with the Riley House and a lot of different community partners and donors to have that exhibit there at the park. But Discovery Playground, we didn't have a place for kids to play. A KCCI team, along with a lot of private donors, came in to create a phenomenal play space. So this has really been a collaboration with all the amenities people will see.
Okay, now you haven't talked about my favorite part, which is Imagination Fountain.
Yes.
I'm like, we've become a really big city when we have this kind of fountain. It is a great place where kids can play in this fountain that shoots up water, but at night, when the music starts and we get this 8-minute show of lights and colors and music, it's incredible. I mean, I was blown away. It's gorgeous.
It is absolutely fantastic. And I can't wait to take my granddaughter down there. She will really love this interactive fountain. It's there for our kids, and it means it'll probably be there for a number of adults too. At some point.
So we think we'll only have kids in the water.
Yeah, I think
and that's
summertime.
important too. That water's treated. You can have people. The kids can play there. It's nice and safe, and it's beautiful as well.
Yeah.
Well, we caught a glimpse of it for the first time, at least for myself, last night. Turned on with the lights and everything.
Going with the music.
Yes, and it's something that I think a lot of us are used to seeing, that type of fountain when we go travel. You know, I mean, whether it's, I can think of it as Disney when I was a kid or other cities. No, this is Tallahassee. We have it here now, and it's really, it's going to be an example, not just of something we can use day to day, just as residents of our community, but we're going to want to bring family there when they come and visit. And
we used to joke about every time family comes, where do we go? We take them to Wakulla Springs because they want to see the alligators and they want to see the beautiful spring. I promise you, Cascades Park is going to be number 2, maybe number 1.
Maybe number 1.
Number 1.
We'll have that and the zip lines now. They can stay
the
in
zip line
Leon.
is great too. So absolutely. Let me ask you all about, when people talk about the importance of this sales tax and we talk about this penny, how critical is that? I mean, if we didn't have that, where would we be? I want you guys to talk a little bit about that.
Well, there are a lot of things that we would not have in this community but for this penny sales tax. And again, as we've said before, it means a lot because not only are our citizens paying that penny, others are, and it makes this community the kind of vibrant community we want to do. The infrastructure projects, and Christian was absolutely correct, there are a lot of projects we don't see, we really don't see, but they're very important. And then when you get those infrastructure projects, and you can then go to the really nice stuff that people will see visible Cascades Park. And as you mentioned, it is a stormwater treatment park.
Right. Designed to flood. I think people,
Designed to flood.
people will say, oh my gosh, they built that and look, it flooded. It's like, oh yeah, that was the plan.
And thank goodness it's contained in a park and it's not going to affect anyone's homes or anything like that. It won't be dangerous on Franklin and other places. Well, for me, another important part of the sales tax is that Leon County and Tallahassee is unique. We've always talked about this. So much of our land, over 700 miles in Leon County, I think around 40% is on the public, or is owned by the public.
At least that.
And so it's not taxable. And other communities are able to raise funds through different sources. For us, we just have more challenges in our community, so we have to get creative. And I'm proud of our community that is willing to invest, whether it's the half penny in schools or the full penny in infrastructure. It means that we really care about our community.
Outstanding. Well, I want to thank both of you all, the County Commission, the City Commission. There was a vision a long time ago to work together to make this happen with great accountability and great reporting back to the community. That's what we're doing on this show as well.
That is very, very important, that this cooperative spirit is there between the city and county. And
well, we thank you both. You are great leaders, and we appreciate everything that's been done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
When we come back, we're going to tell you more about Cascades Park and how you can use this park to your full benefit. Stay with us.
Here in Tallahassee, we have hundreds of local businesses that offer first-rate products and services. That's why Tallahassee Mayor John Marks is partnering with business leaders to bring you Local Business Saturday every second Saturday of the month. I know that for every dollar I spend at a local business, I'm doing my part to strengthen our local economy and create jobs for our community. So remember, spend smart, get it in Tally.
Hi, welcome back to City Talk. On today's show, we're talking about the incredible Cascades Park in downtown Tallahassee. And on this segment, I'm delighted to introduce two people very involved with the park. Charla Lucas is with Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Affairs, and Wayne Tedder is the Director of PLACE. Now, Wayne, explain what PLACE stands for.
PLACE is an acronym for Planning, Land Management, and Community Enhancement. It's essentially a department that is over both the Tallahassee-Leon County Planning Department and Blueprint 2000, which is also administered by the City of Tallahassee and Leon County Commission.
I tell you, that's a mouthful. Every time it's a mouthful. So we like PLACE. PLACE is good. Now, we talked about Blueprint 2000. We know the citizens approved the sales tax. It goes into this organization. Tell us a little bit about what you all do.
Well, Blueprint 2000 originated from a group of citizens who came together. They realized Tallahassee was going to grow, but yet there were some concerns about how we were going to grow. So a group of the citizens came together and developed a number of projects that they wanted to get completed for Tallahassee and Leon County. And essentially that was accomplished through a 1-cent sales tax, which was approved by the citizens in 2000.
Okay. Now, I know that we've talked a little bit in the earlier segment about all the things Blueprint does, but I really want to focus on Cascades Park because we love this park. It is so fun. Charlotte, tell me what your role is with Cascades Park.
Well, people are going to be able to come to me and we are going to plan their events in Cascades Park. There's so many different opportunities throughout the park to hold a small intimate event even to a large concert. So I'm going to work with individuals and organizations and different groups that come in to get their event in the park and be successful.
This park is so cool that I know that people are at home watching this going, quick, get the paper, get the pencil. How do we reach this woman? Let me let you tell them right now. How can they reach you?
Okay, well, you can go to discovercascades.com and all the information is on that website there, and also on talgov.com under the plan your event section. So you can go to either of those sections.
You're very accessible. I know people are going to want to use this park. Now, Wayne, let's go back and talk a little bit about what is in this park for people to enjoy. Charla mentioned performances. Let's start with that. We have a gorgeous new amphitheater. How many people can be seated there? What's the purpose of the amphitheater?
Well, the amphitheater has two purposes. First and foremost, it's for all the people of our community, whether it's a local church event or a smaller party of, just an intimate event, as Charla indicated. has a wide variety of uses for the local citizens, as well as what came to us very late was transforming the amphitheater into something that we could bring ticketed events. We bring people outside of our community into Tallahassee, let them shop in our shops, eat in our restaurants, and sleep in our hotels. So it's an opportunity to bring people from outside of our community to listen to great concerts, Shakespeare in the Park, all kinds of things for not just Tallahassee, but for the surrounding area.
And people may not know the county actually runs Visit Tallahassee. Tell us a little bit about their role.
That is correct. For all the ticketed events, we have scheduled up to 10 events in the next 18 months, and we have 2 events that are coming online that they are bringing to Tallahassee. On April 12th, we have, for all you country music fans, we have Tracy Lawrence.
All right.
And on April 13th, we have Charlie Wilson for all you rhythm and blues fans, and it's going to be an incredible event.
And I can tell you, when they announced that at the opening of the park, there were people saying, I'm going right now to the website. You know, and somebody said, oh, well, is this going to be, you know, Beyonce? 3,000 people, right? That's the most we can have. We're going to have medium-size type events, but ones that are still exciting and things people want to go to.
That is correct. And if you can just, any seat in that amphitheater is a premium seat. Whether you're on the lawn or in the permanent seating area, there's not a bad seat in the house for this amphitheater.
Okay. Now, we talked about local groups. Charla, if I am with a not-for-profit or if I'm with a church and I want to be able to use that amphitheater, can I reserve it?
Definitely. Yes,
Okay.
you can. It's very reasonably priced. The nonprofit groups start at about $500 for 4 hours.
Okay.
And
that's a pretty good price.
Pretty good deal.
Yeah.
And then even up to, we have a couple different categories. So we have nonprofit groups and we have for-profit groups and we have ticketed events and non-ticketed events.
Gotcha.
So we're trying to make sure that those prices fit for whatever group comes to us and wants to use the amphitheater.
Okay, now, what I've already had people say to me, wow, I want to have my kid's birthday party in the park. Can I do that?
You can do that.
Okay.
There are shelters that are near the fountain area, and those are going to kind of go into our reservation system, much like Tom Brown Park and some of our other parks. So we're going to be able to reserve those for those kinds of parties.
Okay, now let's talk about the fountain. On the first segment, I told them I love this fountain. Wayne, what went into doing this? How does it work? Tell us a little bit about this interactive fountain.
I believe the fountain's going to be one of the most used assets in the entire park. During the daytime, you can have children play in the water. It's going to be bubbling jets that kids can get wet, play. They can change in the changing rooms right next door to it. But at night, it transforms completely from a daytime feature to something that has lights, interactive music. We have 8 minutes of songs that is coordinated to a light show in the fountain itself. And that fountain, Michelle, can be transformed to anything.
Okay.
For instance, 4th of July, we can make the lights in the fountain red, white, and blue, dance to patriotic music. It is just so incredible what this fountain system can do for our community.
You know, one of the things that I think parents think about is, okay, and this water, is it safe? Charla, is this water safe to?
It's absolutely safe. We've been trained on it, and our lifeguards have been trained. So during peak times, we'll have it monitored out there with a lifeguard. But then the chemicals are checked every day. It's almost like a little pool.
I started to say, we have to meet all the same requirements for a swimming pool.
Exactly.
Because when I've been there in the fountain, goes, you smell that little smell of chlorine, you know, okay, this is safe, clean
Good,
water.
clean water.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
What about some of the other features? We've talked a little bit about Smoky Hollow. Wayne, how important was Smoky Hollow? Because I know you had a lot to do with making sure that tied in.
You know, Michelle, Smoky Hollow is probably one of the most important components for me out there. Back in the early 60s, there was a neighborhood that existed. It was the Smoky Hollow neighborhood. And because of our desire to have urban renewal in our community, essentially the neighborhood was dismantled to some extent, well, to a large extent. There's still remnants of the neighborhood surrounding the site. And what we did, we got together a group of citizens who were descendants of people who lived there, as well as actual residents. And we said, what was important to your neighborhood back when you were growing up at the time? And so this idea started formulating based on all the stories that were told, the very important history of Tallahassee. And staff came together with a concept and essentially recreating or reestablishing the neighborhood back into Cascades Park. And it's going to be one of those things that I think will tell a very good story for Tallahassee's history.
And I love the walk leading really from the fountain to Smoky Hollow, where you can read all about and see all of our history as it transformed and as it developed. So that's very cool as well. Now, let's get to one thing I know people are going to ask about, parking. Sometimes some of us have this fear about, okay, I don't want to park in a state garage because I don't really know if it's at the right place to park. How do I know where to park around? And Wayne, what details did you work out with the state to make this possible?
Yeah, well, first we have a number of parking spaces on the site itself. So during the average use of the daytime, during work weeks, we expect that there's going to be sufficient parking not only in the park, but there's on-street parking on the north side and the west side of the park on Gadsden Street and Bloxham Street. But after hours, from 6 o'clock on the weekdays as well as throughout the weekend, we have an agreement with the state to have access to 3 parking garages and a surface parking lot, all on the west side of the park, with the exception of the Department of Transportation surface parking area that is on the east side of the park.
And that's the park that I always, the place that is easiest for me to see because it's right there on Swanee Street. You can see it from Appalachia, that FDOT parking lot. That's a big lot.
Big lot. We have over 3,000 parking spaces reserved with our agreement, and all the parking decks and garages, they will be signed so that when visitors come to Tallahassee, they'll know where to park.
Okay.
And it's real important that we guide them to those areas rather than to the adjoining neighborhoods south of the park.
Okay. And they're closer, so you want to park in that closest spot, go to those. Now, Charlie, tell me a little about operating hours. When can I be in the park? Kind of how does it work?
Well, the operating hours follow our existing ordinance for our other parks, so it's from dawn to dusk, except in lighted areas. So the multi-use trails that surround the park are lit up around the night because some people like to run at night and jog at night. So those areas are accessible after dark. And also, if there's an event going on, we definitely want people in the park for an event.
That makes sense. And it's so well lit that, I mean, I felt really safe. You know, it just felt like a nice environment. And I love that there's the emergency lights there. If you need to make an emergency call, you see that blue light, you know you can reach out and have someone there immediately.
Absolutely. And another important feature of the park is it's universally designed for access. So anyone with disabilities, there is a well-marked pathway throughout the entire park where they can experience everything everyone else can experience.
Okay, one more question. Dogs. Can I bring my dog? I love to run with my dog.
Yes, please bring your dog on a leash.
Okay, very good point, on a leash.
Yep.
And do we have the waste disposal station, I think we call them?
Okay. Yep, those are throughout the park. I do want to point out, though, that dogs are not allowed in the amphitheater, so those won't be allowed at the shows or anything. But anywhere else in the park, please bring your dog and clean up after them.
Outstanding. Okay, last quick question. So when we talk about the importance of this park, Wayne, you know, people know that they're giving their penny, they're building this park, they're building so many other things. How important is this for Tallahassee?
I think, number one, for a flooding purpose, it has eliminated flooding of 23 properties on Franklin Boulevard. It has reduced flooding at Leon High School. It has reduced flooding of South Monroe Street. So from that perspective, it serves a huge benefit to our community. But just from what we are seeing, the interest of what's going to occur along Lafayette Street, South Monroe Street, there are so many businesses getting geared up because they know this area is going to bring people to their part of the community, and it will serve our businesses extremely well. So I think you're going to see a lot of growth potential that will occur as a result of this park.
All right. I predict, Charla, you're going to be the most popular person in town because
I
everybody's going to want to be in that park.
Already is.
Your phone is. I know your phone is already lighting up. We're getting lots of responses on the website. We're excited to have you on board with the city, and thank you both for everything you've done to make this park a great place for us all to hang out.
Our pleasure.
All righty. So now I know if you haven't discovered Cascades Park yet, you now want to do it. It is really incredible. The easiest way to get information is to go to our website. It's discovercascades.com, and it'll have everything there about events coming up. It will link to the Visit Tallahassee site for information about ticketed events. It has those maps so you know exactly where to park. Be sure you go to discovercascades.com. And thanks for watching this edition of City Talk.